Okay, so when we last left off, we had just created a shape, a base class, and we'd created our derived class, our rectangle, which inherits from our single shape class. And then in our other class program, in the main method, we actually create an object of the rectangle. And we demonstrated polymorphism. So the next thing is we have to put some stuff into these classes. So it says here, create abstract class shape, abstract method, get area. Okay, well let's make that method. And we'll say it returns an int because it's get area. Oops. And it's abstract public. And so I just put the semicolon there to show that that's all we do in this abstract method. We just declare it, but we don't actually have any content in it. It's for this class to override it. So it also says we need to make a length and width. So these are going to be private variables. And then we need some public methods to access those private variables. And of course they're of type int. So I've actually written this elsewhere, so we just do a copy and paste of that, because I don't have to write all that in. Okay, so there are our set, public set, and get methods for each of length and width. So the next thing we do here is that we want to access that length and width. So we could actually inherit those values. So the first is we're going to create a constructor and initializes the member length and width. So we can create a constructor which is a default one. It'll take no parameters. And we want to give these values here a default value of 0. Well, if you know yourself, if you create an int, C# by default will set these to 0, but we're just going to do it manually anyway. So how do I access length? So do I use the set length method? If you inherit from it, kind of feels a bit silly in doing that. So you could do that, or we could also access them directly. So we could say, instead of being private, they are protected. So only classes that inherit from here can access them directly. So if we make them both protected, that means we could either do it that way, set length and get length, or we can go and just to make sure there, you could actually say this dot length, just to be even more correct, to say it's this value, it's part of this class. We could use the this modifier, but we don't need to in this instance. So that seems a bit better than the set and get methods because it is inheriting from it. So what else do we need to do? Okay, so we need to implement the get area. So it was declared abstract here, right? So we need to override that method, and we will use public, and we actually use the override keyword. And not implement exception. Well, I'm actually going to implement it. So we will return get area, so it'll be length by width. And again, as I said, it's a good idea to write in use the this key. So now we have created a rectangle. So let's set the values. S dot, and we'll set length equals to 5. S dot, and we'll set the width as well. 5 5 is 25. So if we just dot get area, and we'll get it to print out. So this, when we run our program, our console should print that on the screen. And we'll do a read just to keep the console up so we can view it. And what that does is just waiting for us to enter pressing a key on the keyboard, and that'll stop the program from running. But it just means that the program will wait until we actually press the key on the keyboard. So let's start that. Okay, so it worked. We created an object S, we set the length and the width value, and we also used get area to print out the value of the area of the rectangle. Okay.